Call to order. I'm here, Mario's here, Doug is here, Pat's on Zoom, Donna's here, Armand's here, Robin's here. Wilson's here, Sue F is here, John K, Ellen, Dan, David, Mike Zerio, John, Jenny, and Dan, Dean is here. Okay, good. Agenda, I have, in your packet, I just had, I had to add 2 invoices, number 9, 1 total fitness, and 1 contractor's appliance. So could I have a motion to add those 2 to add to number 9? Donna, second?
Right.
Ellen? Any discussion, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Thank you. Approval of minutes, May 15th.
Do you want to know? Who's on Zoom?
Excuse me?
Pat Finn.
Pat Finn, I'm sorry.
That's what we thought, we just wanted to
Yeah.
accept it. Thank you.
I make a motion.
Okay. Second, okay.
Got any questions?
John? Discussion? All in favor?
Well, hold it, we got
Who's
some.
the
hooded lady.
hooded lady comes in? Check her ID.
We have a comment.
This is for the minutes?
Yeah.
Yes, go.
Is, I don't know if this matters, I apologize in advance. Mrs. Hona's name is misspelled, does that matter?
Which one?
Ms. Hona's name is misspelled? She's,
I'm used to it.
she's homey.
She's homey, good one. Where is it exactly? Last page of the minutes?
Last page of the minutes? Does that matter? I apologize for holding things up.
No, that's okay.
Hey,
No worse for wear.
I always love to hear from you.
That's not true.
No, it's not.
Okay. Any public participation? Okay. Mike Z. Oh, first up, I'm sorry, yes.
So I just want to make a little announcement here. Over the course of the past month, we have transitioned some staffing on the project for some good reasons that I'll tell you about. Dan has an opportunity to move into pre-construction for O&G. We had one of our pre-construction managers take a leave of absence. So he is going back to doing pre-construction while still having his hand in some important things like the turf field, which you'll hear from him tonight. But Mike, who's now been on the job for a year and a half or so, was promoted and has taken over the reins over the past month from Dan. And we brought another to the site as well, Matt Barber. He's a new hire project engineer, so we're maintaining the 4-person staff. We were actually going to, this was the part of the project where initially contemplated we were going to be going to a 3-person staff, but with some of those changes, we felt that, with no added cost, we're going to keep it a 4-person team. So that's the 4-person team that's there. I know you've come to know Mike over some of these past meetings. Got complete confidence in him leading the team here on out. And I want to just take a minute to just thank Dan publicly. Over the course of the project, when we first came on board, we were still in pre-construction, navigating some relatively difficult waters from a budget standpoint and trying to maintain a time frame. And Dan's attention to detail and knowledge really helped bring the project in to be bid, awarded, and really, very well managed over the course of the past 3 years. So I really wanted to recognize Dan for his positive impact and lasting impact on the project, and just, appreciate all the effort and many, many hours that you put into the project. So
thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have a lady intern,
yes, we do.
Gabby.
Yes, we do. We do I won't be long, but we have an awesome internship program that started with like 6 or 7. Now we have, I think, just in building group, we have 14, and now company-wide, we brought, I think, 22 or 25 interns in this summer. And we have a considerable number of full-time employees now that were interns. Actually, Matt Barber, who's a full-time project engineer, he was an intern for us last year. So it's an amazing feeder program, and we have Gabriella. So she's a
Gabby.
I know. She doesn't like to sit either. If she comes to a meeting, she'll stand on the side. She has to sit.
She's really nice.
Yeah.
Lacrosse player.
Yep, we got a
Lacrosse player, that's right, yeah.
Yep, so we got a highly energetic team on site. It's contagious.
As opposed to Dan, who had to take a nap.
Yeah.
I did not say that. You're putting words in my mouth.
Dan worked long and hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he still does.
And you guys are great. And actually, I want to take a moment because Mike, under the last year and a half, he's really grown in what I've seen him take on. The more I gave him to do, the more he could do. And I appreciate your efforts in really stepping right in and taking over the reins. He's got a tough road to hoe to get you to the finish line, and he's handling it beautifully.
Great, thank you.
Also, he gave me carpal tunnel, but we won't go into that.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay,
All right.
Mike.
Do your thing.
Hi, everyone. As always, I'll go through the commentary. Happy to answer any questions after I finish up. With respect to the occupied portion in the construction tech lab, the controllers we've been talking about, purchased via change order for the dust collection systems have been mounted and powered. We have control wiring to complete ahead of the scheduled startup for the systems next week. It's a big milestone for the space. Now that school is out, we're able to get into various spaces and complete some of the items that couldn't be completed on second shift or during holiday breaks. A few of those items are what has been used as the temporary weight room to the permanent middle school cafeteria, tearing apart some ceilings in those two STEM and makerspace classrooms in area E1 so we can install a pipe grid system, along with removing all of the temporary walls that we had constructed ahead of the January occupancy to prevent access to the construction areas. The middle school building has begun to receive FF&E. They had started today in the media center. So we have various vendors similar to the phase 2A that will be making deliveries and distributing FF&E throughout the space over the next month and then through the end of July, along with a final FF&E mobilization for Area H in late August. The slideshow, this is a picture here of the OTPT resource room on the first floor of the middle school. Beneath the floor protection is the newly installed rubber athletic sports flooring, which is also the same flooring that was installed in the high school OTPT room along with the mirrors. Moving on, this is the reception area in the middle school on the first floor, just showing some progress of the newly installed wall coverings provided through the painting contractor. All remaining wall coverings have been installed, and then all that remains is the installation of the final base at the bottom there. Moving upstairs to area E, it's a little difficult to tell from the picture here, but it's showing some progress of the security glazing film installed on the glass of glazing of the hollow metal frames. This work is now complete and has kicked off the next activity, which is installing the panel signage. Next up here, we have some status of rubber flooring in stair 5. That is in your building area F, and then stair 4 is also complete as well. That would be in area E. Rubber flooring now completed. All that remains in these stairwells is some touch-ups and final cleaning. As we had mentioned during last month's update, the second and third floors of the middle school have been final cleaned. As a reminder, the sequence in the middle school has us walking out the front door, and final cleaning in that area is nearing completion. It will time out perfectly for the bulk of FF&E arriving within the next upcoming weeks. Another item that has been discussed frequently here at these meetings is we are continuing to balance the air and water systems, or air and water related to the HVAC systems. Once these activities are completed, it will allow us to do the final installation activities and close the ceilings for good. Now for the fun part, area H is well underway. As you can see here, steel erection detailing has been completed for the added structural steel in the auto shop. The metal decking is in progress. This specific area as of today is beginning to receive intumescent fireproofing, which is nearing completion and is required ahead of the masonry walls being constructed, which will ultimately then kick off the final roofing activities for this building. Next slide here, same idea. This is in your addition area, your gym lobby continuation, your little concession bump out area, leading you to the auto shop. Same thing, structural steel detailing has been completed, along with the metal decking installations at the time of this photo. So next up here, we're looking at the east elevation of Area H. As you can see, the demolition contractors made some significant progress in creating openings in the existing CMU to facilitate the installation of new windows, man doors, overhead doors. And then moving around that same corner to the north elevation, which is on the Route 8 side of the building. As you can tell, the Mason's hydrolift is set up. The miscellaneous metals contractor has installed all the necessary angles that are needed to support your future curtain wall or window systems, along with the carpenter installing some wood blocking for those systems to be secured into. You can sort of tell from this picture, but we are continuing with some of the spray foam activities required at the parapets, cold form metal framing parapets based on the details. All this work I had mentioned here needs to happen to install the air vapor barrier system before the masonry contractor built the veneer wall, which fast forward today, they're up on the hydro lift and installing veneer. On the inside of Area H, we are looking at the west wall of the gymnasium. Right here, you're looking at the white stuff on those columns. That's intumescent fireproofing, which since this picture has been taken, has been completed. Additionally, the miscellaneous metals contractor has also installed the X bracing you see there, required based on the structural details. As you can see, we have begun to construct the cold form metal framing wall and exterior sheeting at this elevation to close the area off to the environment and continue installing the permanent systems. Moving east on the first floor into the locker room, if you recall, we had to cut the existing slab to facilitate the installation of new underground piping. This slab has been replaced since the last progress update, and masonry walls are being constructed as we speak. They are actually near completion as of today.
Say, how old is that photo, you think?
It's very cold. It's
2 weeks?
not even, it's probably a couple weeks.
The majority of those walls are already up, so.
Forgot to mention that once the slab was replaced, it allowed our mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection contractors to install hangers to support their overhead piping and ductwork that will be installed once the mason finishes up here in a few days. Moving upstairs to the second floor, the mason has completed the elevator shaft for elevator number 4, the final elevator in this building. There was no elevator in this exact location in the existing building, so there was actually a beam that was running through the future shaft. So what we had to do is the mason had to install walls on the first floor on the underside of those beams so he could shore that beam, and then the demolition contractor went and he cut the section of beam out to create your elevator shaft. Up top on the roof of the renovation area, here is some progress, just showing some extents of the parapets, which have been framed and sheathed, wood blocking installed. As of today, the base and tapered insulation, the cover board, the membrane have all been placed, and we are in a dry condition beneath the gymnasium and the locker room areas underneath the renovation, which is another huge milestone that's been completed. Next slide here, just reiterating what I just said. Off of the metal decking there, you got that plastic looking vapor barrier, we call it. The base and the tapered insulation where it's required, cover board insulation on, and TPO membrane making up the roofing system. Like I said, this photo was taken a few weeks ago, but the roof is on and it's dried in over there. Moving outside, we are preparing for some more concrete sidewalks that will eventually make up your pedestrian walkways in the future middle school parking area. We have actually begun to place the curbing areas of this lot, along with all the ADA walks, and then over the next few days and weeks, we're going to continue pouring all the flat work. Staying within the middle school area, this parking lot is beginning to shape up. We are trenching and backfilling for electrical conduits for the site light poles. We're preparing for the installation of the precast concrete curbing and the rain gardens. All these activities are needed ahead of the fine grading activity, which is going to need to occur before our asphalt paving date in early August. It's going to be here before we know it. Work is ongoing in the athletic fields. This picture here just shows some progress of the perimeter drain in the multi-purpose field. More specifically, this is the right field of the baseball field in that area. In the last week, we placed some fencing sleeves that have been set ahead of the concrete anchoring curb, which is actually being placed on the baseball side of the multi-purpose field. I think they've already gotten the first and the third base lines placed as of today, so.
It's done.
We're working tonight, work is proceeding. Next slide here is took this in the soccer field portion of the multi-purpose field. Mass earthwork operations at the time of this photo are continuing, so we can move forward with successor activities, but it's all been graded out at this point. And we have some fun drone shots taken in late May. This is looking north. Next slide here is looking east and west. And a nice shot of the athletic fields, which again, this picture was taken in late May and a lot has happened since this photo, so.
There's no more building.
And there is no more building.
And they have the mound. The mound is in place there.
Yes.
Yes.
Just to quickly report on some cost and schedule impacts in the period. I'll start with what I have and then Dan can report on the status of the athletic field pricing. In the renovation area, it was discovered that the height of the existing CMU exterior walls along the north, south, and west elevations of the renovation area were not at the heights that we had, assumed to be based on the drawings. We had sent a question in, a request for information, and we had proposed a solution to add 6-inch studs with kickers back to the roof deck, to make up the difference to where the CMU was supposed to be. We had reviewed it with SLAM. They had said the solution was acceptable, and we had to proceed with the work to not delay the roofing activities and drying in the space so we could continue working. Order of magnitude of this change is roughly around $35,000 as we had indicated in the cost report. I got an initial cost from them that was around $80,000. I'm working my way down. I just didn't fully understand the scope, but I'm constantly negotiating with them and that's the number we're gonna look for. Switching gears back to the middle school building, it has a life skills room similar to the high school, where a washing machine was included for the academic program. It was noticed that there were no plumbing supply or waste piping connections noted on the construction drawings. We had asked a question to the design team and they agreed connections were required to support the use of the equipment for the space. The room in question is at a point where the finishes were already installed. Adjacent finishes have now been protected, concrete slab has been saw cut, plumbing connections are done, been insulated. We're waiting for the sheetrock to be patched and painted and then replace the flooring and then final clean. Order of magnitude of this change is roughly around $20,000. During last month's meeting, we had just made it clear that we are up against time and we've made significant progress in the last period, but we're just continuing to keep our foot on the gas. Weather continues to be challenging us and compressing our durations that were already tight to begin with. But we're working extended hours inside the building and out on the site and in the athletic fields to keep progressing with the work. We're maintaining our 6-day work week along with opening up for this Sunday for trades to continue working. We have the mason contractor coming in. He's going to focus on building the auto shop walls and then all the necessary support trades that need to work alongside him to build, put the raceway in as the wall is getting built. Every day matters and the trades out there know that. They're showing up every day and we're trying to make this happen. So that's all the good and bad news that I have and I'll leave the floor to Dan.
Thanks. So I distributed a copy of the estimate that I had shared out in April. I took some time to update the figures that are in that, but just a general overview of what we have for, in as much as the athletic field trying to get and bear down on the costs. So we had to initially release the synthetic turf product and then Liberty Landscaping, who is out there doing the anchoring curb that Mike mentioned a couple minutes ago. So those PCOs went through, the topsoil went through, and I've been working diligently to bring the balance of those items to the front. So as you look at that document, the front page is a summary of all of the costs associated. Very little change. I think this is pretty much the same thing I reported to you last month, is that we haven't moved the dollar, we haven't moved the bar too far from where I had presented it back in April. It's still just under a $6 million mark as far as added cost, and the return cost of $1.3 million is still relatively the same. On the backside of that document is the cost specific to CJ Fuji. And so I'll draw your attention in the upper, line item breakdown of what CJ Fuji's costs are. I've highlighted, it's pretty hard to see, but there's just a shaded darker gray for when they're already PCOs and executed. So as a reminder, the top of that chart reflects the self-perform work. There's a couple of things that are grayed out. Actually, only the loadout has been resolved. I'm actually meeting with CJ Fuji tomorrow with the new set of documents, the R1 set of documents. CJ Fuji's prime, the project manager I've been working with since starting the project. He's their senior estimator as well as their senior PM. He's been pulled thin, and so I've been having some trouble getting his focus back to our project and getting these things worked through. What their resolution of that is they have another project manager that they're moving into his role to basically bring this cost to resolution. But in so doing, the savings that we had put out there in not having to do any, we have not to date had to take care of any unsuitable material. All of the earth product that was in place has passed the inspection of the geotechnical engineer. But unfortunately, we've seen 2 additional costs, and I noted those as new. And that's unfortunately taken exactly the same savings that we had hoped to gather. But again, those are just the numbers that he's putting out there, and our negotiation isn't reflected here yet. So not much new to report here, except that I did find buyout savings in the Eagle fence since we met last, but then we added some scope. We realized that we needed to enclose what is the west end of your existing stadium field. So that cost a few dollars, about $13,000. And then we also wanted to add protection on all of the short fence, all the 4-foot fence, that corrugated product that lives on top of the top rail. We've added that on all short fence. So the $20,000 or so that I was looking to save on that line item got replaced with new scope of work. The other items are what I provided, and it's similar to what I provided back in April, is just giving you an update as to where the buyout is on the remaining items. General welding, didn't get an answer today. I was hoping to on the proposed savings to go to a galvanized steel rail. On the long, there's that new ramp in lieu of the kind of grand stair. The new site plan has a long ramp, and I'm looking to get cost information on that. That's still open. The trade is just slow in response. And then I went through and I provided for you some information on the grading. Again, I'm right at a point where we knew where the cost was a month ago. I'm just looking to ink the deal. That same comment applies to the grading, to the drainage. In the final design, and after some discussion with the group, the gates that used to be at sidewalks have been replaced by bollards. And so I'm awaiting cost on bollards that's what's called site improvements, are removable bollards at the main stair that gets into the property, or comes off a daily drive and enters the athletic field. And then as you come up that ramp, again, they don't want any type of vehicular traffic to get through there unless they have a key and they can remove the bollard out of the way. The other cost, there was 2 new costs. One was to export topsoil in order to get it screened. As CJ Fuji looked to the property and tried to figure out where they could do the actual physical work of setting up a screener, taking the topsoil for the remaining areas of lawn and processing that, removing all the stones. They don't physically have enough room on the property, and they want to move that soil off-site, process it off-site and move it back again. Right now, I'm at a number around $55,000 to $60,000, and they've submitted a cost of $77,000. So that was the next item, and then I mentioned the project management and the sidewalk costs. I'm still carrying a higher number than I believe we would spend in that area, but again, that's to remain conservative in my approach. AJ Paving just hasn't come up with the number yet. We've just recently revised scope again slightly to add some additional bituminous in what is now a driveway to the junior varsity ball field, required to access the sanitary manhole that's out there. And then lastly, TC Landscaping has come around to the value that I had in the original scope of work. So that was my first step in success in getting their number negotiated. We are any day now expecting the final design for the shorter wall, at which time we can agree on the square footage of, what is the smaller scope of work, and they can give back the dollar figures. That number is relatively close. As I was looking at what I prepared in April, it was around $60,000 give back, and I'm seeing a number now at $55,000. So my work to continue to get those numbers and get that finalized is ongoing, but I'm making some progress and expect to make some serious progress in the next couple of weeks. Bottom line is you're still riding where you thought you'd be. Unfortunately, the savings that we had hoped to capture, we now have to negotiate again relative to additional project management.
Just so you know how we do with the state, we have separate purchase orders, which we already have sent out to Liberty Landscaping, Field Turf, and Fence Company. We're still waiting for the final figures for TC Landscaping and Fucci. We haven't done that. So we want to make sure we separate it, all goes to O&G, but on the purchase order, separate, so when we ask for money, it goes into that purchase order account.
Did we get any resolution on the block situation? The amount of blocks that we need or don't need, or?
Yeah, so that's where they finally
If they actually
came
showed
to
up.
agreement on what was in the original scope of work. Right now, they're at a cost of $17.50 for their labor to install. I'm at a cost of $20 a square foot, so we're not far apart on that item. And then again, the last piece of that is getting their engineered drawing for the shorter wall. And from an engineered drawing, it's a simple square footage, and we can calculate the number out.
And then they said they had all the blocks and,
Yep.
was that verified that they?
Yep, I went to Colchester and I put eyes on all the block. There is, there's gonna be roughly about 3,000 face square feet of block. Anybody knows anybody that's willing to give us some money for it? I've been, actually in my new role, there's a few projects on the block. That was
Pun intended? I hope so.
But there's a couple of projects out there that do need retaining walls, so if my architectural teams on those projects are agreeable, we may be able to find a spot for that block. And then, there's other alternatives to retail that product out through our organization, that we may be able to capture some value for what that is. I'm afraid I can't remember exactly what the value of that block is right now. But I have it on a piece of
Leave them
paper.
something for next month.
Okay. Yep.
So Dean, theoretically, you could do something with that block if you can't get rid of it.
Yeah. Okay.
We own it. That's all I got. Yeah, you own it.
We own it.
Delivered to anywhere in Torrington.
John, you're on.
Good evening. Well, the transition from demolition over at Part H to new construction at Part H, we've seen an uptick in the number of tests and inspections. Right now, we're tracking, BL is tracking 23 items. Generally the same items that we've been tracking. It's been waiting for the classes to be dismissed so that O&G's team can get in there and wrap up a lot of those punch list type related items in the high school. Special inspections, again, with new construction going on, they've been out there a bunch. They've inspected epoxy anchors, reinforcing, cold formed metal framing, the intumescent paint and the cementitious fireproofing has all been inspected and no deficiencies. There's been concrete tests, and generally the concrete for the building has been very good. These tests for the Part H have all come up at least 30% above the design compressive strength. Startup testing, there was a science lab, fume hoods were tested. They did a smoke test to ensure that it captures the smoke in the area of the hood, and they passed. And then lastly, for Connecticut High Performance and for construction waste management, we're right around 17% for recycled content for materials, and we're at 42% for regionally manufactured products. Those are all above the low-level threshold of what we need to meet state requirements. And then for construction waste, there wasn't a lot. There was 180 cubic yards of waste generated, 65% recycled. Right now, we're at 65.1% for the project as a whole. 832 tons of waste generated, 541 tons was recycled. And that is it.
Any questions for John? Next, phase 2, application certificate. Have a motion to approve $3,653,997.93.
So moved.
Yeah, Robin? Second, Armand. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mike, you're on again.
PCO. PCO 566. This is $0 cost to the project. It's a back charge between trades for some housekeeping that was needed in the future middle school parking lot area. PCO 571, window decals, area B4 and PR room sign revisions. That's an owner cost of $1,257. If you recall, we had executed a cost for additional room signage a few months ago due to a proposal request that was issued by SLAM for some room renumbering corrections. We had realized after the fact that the window decals were never included in the original PCO and are represented in this cost. PCO 573, owner cost of $4,492. There was an existing tunnel that ran from area H through the existing structure. When the existing area G building, which is now our area H building, was separated from your existing area A building, we were left with an opening in the existing foundation wall of what is now known as area H. In review of the structural drawings, there were no references on how we were to infill this opening in the existing foundation. We had asked the question, and the structural engineer had provided us some details on how to close the opening, and that is reflected in this cost. PCO 574 is a small owner cost of $543. If you recall, there was a change approved a while back in the curved corridor in the first floor of the high school. We had saved a good sum of money changing from a curved fin tube radiator to straight length radiators that were segmented in that curved corridor. The product had arrived after the January occupancy, and they needed about a week for installation. The earliest opportunity for install was over the April break, where the work was completed, but there were some custom trim pieces that were needed to conceal the joints between the radiators and the segments, and those couldn't be field measured until after the radiators were installed. So we created temporary enclosures made from plywood so we could cover those joints, and that is also represented in this cost. PCO 575 is an owner cost of $1,336 as a result of adding the second dust collector for the construction tech lab. We had to create openings through the existing drywall that was already in place so we could accommodate the ductwork. This resulted in some drywall patches and painting. PCO 576 is an owner cost of $1,819. When installing the door hardware in the middle school, we noticed there were some conflicts with the door closers and the wall stops in relation to some adjacent conditions like windowsills and cabinets, walls. We had asked the question and provided floor stops in lieu of wall stops, and then we also added a different type of door closer so we could address the rest of the conditions. PCO 577R1, the documents called for us to salvage the existing batting cage and then reinstall it in the high school gymnasium. The existing motor that had raised and lowered the batting cage, it was observed that it was leaking oil from the drive shaft. This cost represents the replacement motor along with the electrical circuitry that was not shown on the documents but required.
What was the cost of that?
What was the cost of that?
Yeah.
In total, it was $4,800, roughly. PCO 578 is a CM contingency cost, $5,000. In the building phase 2A, there was never a need for us to introduce any sort of MVRA, which is known as a moisture vapor reduction admixture, to the slab on grade mix design, because there was always a long time when the placement of the concrete or the slabs occurred versus when the flooring was installed or needed. Flooring materials are very sensitive relative to moisture content of the substrate that it's on. So higher moisture levels lead to adhesive failures, delamination of the flooring, etc. Given the short turnaround time from the Area H addition slab on grade concrete pour to when the new flooring systems were needed, we had felt it was required based on the schedule, therefore it was a cost that we had absorbed. Area H concrete slab replacement locker rooms, PCO 579 is another CM contingency cost of $62,000. Originally, we had assigned the general trades contractor to replace the existing concrete slab that we had saw cut and removed to facilitate the installation of the underground plumbing. During the slab removal, there were sections remaining that were not acceptable to structurally tie back into when we had replaced it, doweling into the existing slab and locking it into the new slab. Additionally, there were other unforeseen conditions, as I had mentioned before, related to the existing tunnels. This scope assignment was originally supposed to be a 1,500 square foot trench and fill completed by our general trades contractor, a simple 3-foot wide trench, and ended up being a total 3,700 square foot slab replacement that was completed by the concrete contractor. It's definitely a large cost, but just so everyone knows, I've been negotiating with the general trades contractor for a credit coming back to the project since they didn't perform the original scope of work for the slab trench infill, and then they were also assigned with the backfill and compaction operations. Their initial credit back to us was around 15 grand. After some conversations, we were able to get the credit around $42,000, and that is a cost that is currently under review with SLAM, and we anticipate bringing it to the next meeting next month. PCO 580 is an owner cost of $5,164. In review of the tennis court colors, there was not a standard Torrington maroon color. Based on review with the athletic department and Mario's help, we had received some direction to pursue the custom color. To put it into perspective for the cost, a standard color for a drum is like $725 each. Custom color drum is around $1,450. So that delta there is around $725. And the minimum order for a custom color is 6 drums. So simple math there, that's how we got to $1,500. PCO 581 is an order cost of $2,668. As you're all aware, the permanent weight room is on the second floor of Area H in the renovation building. Temporarily, the weight room was located in the middle school cafeteria during the January occupancy and up until the summer. In order for us to finish that space and allow us time to finish the permanent weight room, the weight room equipment needed to be stored off-site and then in a trailer, which was provided in this cost. It's just the rental cost for the trailer. PCO 582 is a $0 cost to the project. In the renovation area, we had assigned MJ Daly with the sand bedding that was required for the underground plumbing. In an effort to make that process more efficient, we had the site work contractor assist MJ Daly, and therefore this is a back charge between trades. PCO 583, CM contingency cost for February, for May. PCO 584, another CM contingency cost for fall protection required on the second floor of the renovation building, and then also the high and low roofs of the addition and the renovation. Pricing was established based on a unit price that was identified in the contract. PCO 585 is an owner cost of $2,118. In the area of the new elevator pit, when we went to excavate it, the site work contractor encountered an unforeseen condition where there was some overpour from the foundation pour of the existing building. This cost accounts for the removal of the excess concrete. And additionally, the storm and sanitary plumbing piping was anticipated to punch through the existing foundation wall so we could tie in new addition plumbing. However, the bottom of footing elevation was higher than anticipated to be on the drawings. So we had asked the question on how we continue the piping through the new addition, and then the response was to tunnel underneath the bottom of the footing and then underpin it as required, which is represented in this cost. PCO 586 is an owner cost of $24,036. Similar discussion like we had before. There was an existing tunnel that ran from Area H to the existing Area A building. When we saw cut the slab to accommodate the new plumbing piping, that piping would end up being perpendicular to that tunnel. Meaning we were not left with any sides to support the trench for when it came time to backfill it. In review of the drawings, again, there were no references on how we infill these types of openings. We had reviewed it with SLAM, and we proceeded with the same methodology we had used for continuing the exterior part of the Area H foundation. So we can move forward with underground plumbing. Cost includes site work and concrete activities required. PCO 587 is a credit coming back to the project in the amount of $24,505. The auto shop space was scheduled to receive resinous flooring type. It's similar to the flooring that we have installed in the kitchen and the servery and all your community bathrooms. Earlier on in the project, we had taken a VE savings for a substantial amount of money down in the lower level of the high school. We saw a benefit of doing the same exercise for the auto shop, and then it resulted in this credit. So it actually just, instead of it becoming a resinous floor, now it's a sealed concrete floor with vinyl base, same flooring that you have in the construction tech lab, the engineering lab, things like that. PCO 588 is an owner cost of $4,063 due to an existing condition with those wide flange steel columns that you have in the existing high school gym that remained. The miscellaneous metals contractor had to weld these steel plates that we call gusset plates to the existing flange columns in order for them to install the contract expiration steel that I'd shown in one of the pictures in the slideshow in the existing gym. PCO 590 is a back charge to the demolition contractor for the concrete contractor to expedite their work due to schedule delays. No cost to the project, it's a back charge between trades. PCO 595 is an owner cost of $4,527. In the middle school, we had noticed there were 2 science labs that did not have goggle cabinets. We had reviewed it with SLAM, who had agreed that they were required, and it is represented in this cost. We had also had the general trades contractor install them, which ended up being cheaper than having the millwork contractor do it. PCO 596 is an owner cost of $2,960. There were 2 pipe columns that were buried in existing walls so it would be the west wall of the gymnasium. When the walls were removed during demolition, the two pipe columns in question were observed to be damaged. The cost reflected is to repair the columns. PCO 600 is another back charge to the demolition contractor for the steel contractor to expedite their work due to schedule delays. Again, no cost to the project, it's a back charge between trades. And then we have PCO 601.
Just grab it, if you don't mind, the same way, or I'll jump in. So I've been talking about the masonry claim for some time now. It actually happened back in as we approach the winter of 23-24. With the incidents that have occurred at Acronym Masonry, management has changed over there. So there was some time delay in getting to the right people to make some final decisions. And in an effort to clean up that mess, as I was moving off the project and as Acronym was ready to remobilize back to the project, became the right opportunity to derive my deal. The deal, I feel, is successful. We were able to essentially negotiate something that started in the order of magnitude of $300,000. They came back down to a number before the regime change, for lack of another term. They were about at $140,000. And I was able to ink the deal about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, at $95,000. With an additional concession that they had an outstanding premium labor tally of about $17,000, and they reduced that number by just under $8,000. So where I had started, I had in our cost report about $110,000 being applied again to the CM contingency to resolve that claim. The number overall, again at $95,000 for that particular claim, but then I hadn't carried in the cost report the claim for some winter conditions. I negotiated those out, and then again the premium labor, the end all for all prior claims for our mason and all work related to the high school, summed to a total of $136,000. So there was about a $25,000 delta between what I had carried in the report, but that's only a shortcoming in what I had carried in the report. And I felt good about the relationship as we left it. Negotiating now with Sal Monarca Jr., the son of the former owner of Acronym, Sal Sr., as he moves ahead and is now heavily required to finish some real crackerjack work in a fast way on your remaining work.
Any questions? Can I have a motion to approve all the PCOs?
So moved.
Armand?
Second?
Second. Kathy?
Is there, so are they gonna try to charge for any extra hours, extra time on what's left?
So I've stepped back a bit. There's gonna be premium labor required in this phase of work. I know that not just before, it was probably almost 3 months ago now, we sat down and we did what was known as a pull plan, and we agreed to the durations that all the trades needed as they came in to perform this last scope of work. Where I've left it with Mike and Dave is that if they're not performing to the schedule that they agreed upon back in 3 months ago, then they have no grounds for claim.
And just we had a meeting with them, with their ownership last week, and I must say that they are putting it back and forth. We were able to actually to shift some labor from another one of our projects that they're on that was not as critical that it be done. So they're working very well with us right now, I would say. I mean, they're making up a little ground, as you saw from some of the photos. So I would not be surprised. No, we know we're bringing them in on Sunday, so we got to pay for that because that was never to be contemplated. So there will be some premium we're gonna have to pay, but we're gonna keep that as minimal as possible based on what they owed us in the contract.
Any additional comments? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay. Next one, just as every month I give you the analysis as of May, not including here, $149 million we have spent. Next one, progress payments. We received progress payment 18, so the cash that we have received is $111 million, $92,145.09. Again, remember, they're holding retainage of close to $10 million. We will get that 6 months after the project is closed. Okay, payment of invoices. First one. Excuse me 1 second. B&L $7,246.50.
76.50.
So, you wanna say?
72.76.
Yeah. Sorry, I gotta write it
No,
down.
that's clear. Well, that's a crooked 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
Freaking fraction.
Yeah, right.
He's only the meatball, remember that. I have a motion to approve. Armand and Doug, thank you. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay. Next one is SLAM. This is their regular payment, $133,878.75. Have a motion to approve. Donna and Armand. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next one is remember, the work that SLAM is doing on the fields. The purchase orders for $129,000. We already paid $108,000. This is $10,320, which leaves over $9,000 left. Could I have a motion to approve $10,320?
So moved.
Robin, Armand. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next one is Innovative. Second. Innovative Engineering for $1,390.02. Have a motion to approve. Doug. Second.
I'll second.
Robin. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, okay. Next one, Tri-State, their first one, for $1,118. Have a motion to approve. Armand and Doug. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, okay. Next one, again, Tri-State for $914. Have a motion to approve. Armand and Doug. The dynamic duo over there. All in favor? Aye. Next one is the Torrington Board of Ed for their temporary heating of $9,864.32. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, Donna and Armand. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, okay. Next, two, contractors, home appliances. What this is, the Foods Lab, we thought we were gonna bring over 2 dishwashers, and they were just shot to death. So contractor appliances is doing all of the dishwashers and washing machines in the middle school and the high school. So I called them and they delivered, it's been delivered and we're just hooking them up. So can I have a motion to approve $2,030?
So moved.
So this is Robin. Second, John.
Johnny just called.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next one is Total Fitness. Total Fitness was the one that we bought all of the fitness equipment. They put it in the middle school calf.
Yeah.
I had them take it apart, put it in the trailer. So this is half of what then they're gonna come back in August
Put it together.
to put it together. So I wanted them to take it apart, put it together so we don't have any. So they're looking for $1,450. Could I have a motion to approve Total Fitness? Donna?
I'll second
Kathy?
it.
All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay. Next one, second, I always give it to you, the project budget summary. The list, everything, and we're still in good shape. So, yeah, just want to give it to you. The next one is, I have some, let me just go over it. In the paper, it said that the city's 70 million spending plan represents a 0 increase, and the Board of Ed's $76 million in expenses is also flat funded. The only increase is 1.6 million to debt service to cover bonding for the new school. Totally inaccurate. Totally inaccurate.
The professor. He gave us a lesson.
Lesson in reading budgets. So these budgets are from the city, not from me. I hope everybody gets it. First page is next year's budget. I circled the principal and interest, and it adds up. And then the second page is the principal and interest of last year. Total difference, $59,294. Okay,
So break it down.
break it down. We did not encourage a $1.6 million increase in the budget because of our bond issues. What they did do is what they should have done, and they did. And when we opened up the bids and all that, the city received a premium of $1,566,859.58, which they have put on as revenue to the budget, which is fine, but don't say that we paid 1.6 million additional in debt service for the schools. Total, 59,000 is the increase in the debt service.
So they paid the debt service, but they got the premiums.
Correct.
Which almost offset the whole
Offset, right. So the budget went up from last year. This year's budget is 150,588,169 on the bottom. Last year was 149,019,309. Guess what the difference is?
Yeah,
1,568,860.
yeah. And we got back,
And you got the same
Premiums,
thing,
almost.
the same amount,
okay.
okay? They netted the budget out, you wouldn't have an increase.
So they did not speak of the premium they
Correct,
received,
correct.
but they did speak of the money that they paid.
Right, but which is, it shows on the debt, on the bond issue. So just for instance, if you looked at two budgets, the pension on there was 15 million last year, it's 16.3 this year. It went up $1,075,063. The tax collector was 645,000 last year, it's 891,000 this year, 246,000 went up. Fire department was 6,485,000 last year, 6,800,000 this year, 315,000. Just those three numbers add up to $1.6 million. So I just want to make sure that we know that we did not cause an increase in the debt service. We got money back because of the premium of the good-looking guys up front that they liked, that they gave us the premium of one. And remember, the premium has been given in the last 3 years, and they have to use it against debt service. So I just wanted to clear the air.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, there has been no effect on the mill rate in '26
Correct,
for the school,
correct.
even though everybody
Says it went up 1.6 million.
says, well, everybody thinks the mill rate went up because of school.
No.
And
As
that's,
you can see,
that's not true.
just look at the two things. I just want to be correct. We do a lot of things wrong sometimes, Mario and I, but this is not kosher, so just want to let you know. Okay. Next one, discussion of open house, Mario.
Yes, obviously the public wants to see the building. And they certainly have a right to since they paid for it. So we want to do that obviously in a way doesn't create a lot of work for Dean and his guys, and it doesn't interfere with obviously the educational process and all of that stuff. So before we can settle on a day, I think we gotta settle on a month, right? I mean,
Are you trying to do an open house once the facility is fully constructed?
not the fields, I don't think. 'cause
No,
then
but the,
yeah.
but the gym,
Yes.
gymnasium, auto shop.
Yes, so that sounds like October, to be safe. So, I was thinking, are there any Monday holidays in October?
Columbus Day.
And I'm thinking, Dean, and you tell me, maybe you have an open house on a Sunday, so that way any disruption or dirt or, you know, if it gets dirty in any way, you guys still have Monday to clean it.
That would be it.
They don't work Monday. They don't work on that Monday.
No.
Okay, that was a good idea until it wasn't. What would be the best day then, a Saturday?
Yeah, I would
Not necessarily
assume, I
that
would
weekend,
assume a
but-
Saturday would be a best day, so you have Sunday to clean and you're there on Monday.
Okay.
What if you get closer to, so you think in October?
Yeah, because we want to be able to show them the high school gym,
Yeah.
you know, and it,
But you're not showing the fields?
Well, 2 fields will be ready.
one field will be done, for
Yeah.
sure, and the
Yeah.
second field will be,
So you think November's too late?
November would be better.
We have a lot of no school or half days and stuff
PD
in
type days.
November because of
November's okay with me.
I'm thinking around Thanksgiving time, would it make sense, like that Friday?
It would be nice because then the college kids who I'm sure want to see the campus and stuff.
I'm just thinking, you know,
Also
we
class
won't work Thursday, obviously.
Class reunions.
Friday's a holiday for us also, we have
No, I
Thursday
think
and
that's actually
Friday
a
off.
good idea. I mean, more people are in town.
You got the tree lighting. You're gonna be up against the tree lighting eventually, if it
We
goes
could
late
do
in
it
the
during
day.
the day.
Yeah. We did the last one during the day.
Did we?
Yeah, plus Black Friday, if that matters. Now,
Doesn't
yes,
matter.
That's a thing anymore, is it?
there's gonna be a football game on
Black Friday
Prime.
starts in
Oh,
January.
that's right.
There will be a football game. Oh, you mean on, you were talking about real football?
Yeah, the.
Actually, that's a nice weekend. We have a home football game this year on Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
We do have an alumni soccer game on Thanksgiving morning, but that's okay. So we could do something like
Saturday maybe.
that, or no, that Friday's fine, I think, don't you? What do you guys think? Friday or Saturday?
What's a bigger impact on us, would it be Friday, cause it's a holiday?
Yeah.
So Saturday,
Saturday's better.
Saturday, so it would have to be a Saturday event, a Sunday cleanup type of thing? Football game's Thursday anyway, right? It's home,
Yeah,
it's home
Yeah.
anyway on Thursday?
yeah.
Thursday morning, right?
Yeah, I would think maybe that Saturday would probably be a good idea.
Okay, Saturday after
We'll take a look,
Thanksgiving?
yeah.
Cause you gotta,
We'll take a look at that and then get back.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Probably try to finish the gym by then.
What?
You would think? The whole thing better be done by
You're the
then.
wise guy. Okay, comments for the good of order.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Doug?
On the budget thing, there's no taxpayer impact from the school, correct, until 20, or am I
Next
oversimplifying it,
year.
until 26,
Next
27? 20, so no taxpayer impact till 26,
That's
okay,
correct.
alright, thank you.
And then it starts at, I don't know, 1.15 on the
Yeah.
mill or something like that, goes like that for 5 years, it peaks at, 1.5, 1.6,
Less than that.
less than that, and then it back down the roller coaster it goes.
Okay, thank you.
On anything?
Just a question on the drainage / roof situation. Is there an update on that?
You speaking of the leaks, you mean?
Yeah, or the, yeah. it's-
Why don't you go ahead
Yeah,
and
Dave was at the.
pat your own back?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not, there's no back padding here. So I did, you know, we've been in communication with with the mayor. She had communicated with the city council. I went to the city council meeting on Tuesday night
Mhm.
and had given a recap of leaks. I don't have those notes in front of me, but, you know, the big picture was since the building was occupied, we've incurred a total of, I think, 6 leaks. 4 of them are related to roofing.
Mhm.
2 of them are related to HVAC. Some of the big takeaways were that, what we've seen for leaks, it's not out of the ordinary for turning over a project of this complexity to have some instances where there is some water that infiltrates. We let them know of the magnitude that, you know, I think it was the the culmination of all of the roof leaks amounted to, the equivalent of some, like a half dozen of these or whatever it was. And that while we strive for every piece of the work to be installed exactly right the first time, one of the leaks was about a 6-inch long piece of roof seam. And on the building that we turned over, we have about 19,000 feet or about 3.5 miles of that seam. So it's, some of the things we experience are so incredibly low as far as a percentage of the work that it's certainly not an indication of the quality of the work. In some instances, in every instance, the work was, the leak was very clearly communicated to us by the school staff. We had almost immediate action by the roofing trade contractor to address it, and we'll keep that up. The HVAC ones, we work with those with the technical experts of the units, of the people that manufacture the units, and we believe have mitigated that. So
So was a defect in the unit itself?
there was, for
Installation?
instance, there was a condensate drain from the unit. And when we saw this was when we had some of that the first influx of the really hot weather, right? Is that right? And the manufacturer's instructions. So the design team produces documents, and to some extent, they then rely upon or defer to the manufacturer's instructions, because it's depending on who you get the unit from, they have proprietary and set requirements for what it takes for their equipment to function. In this instance, they have a trap for the condensate piping. They had recommended that it be 5 inches tall. And after we were taking some water in, the train came out to the site, to the manufacturer, and the recommendation was made to double the depth of that to 10 inches. The HVAC contractor went and made those corrections on all the units. And I would say that, the weather of today and tomorrow is going to certainly test that. So, so again, I think we would love to say that nothing's ever gonna happen like that. But in a building of this size, I think all we can say is just that we keep the communication as good as it's been with communicating these things, and we should have to act diligently. So.
And what about that drain? We had talked about that drain, remember the overflow drain, there was a lot going on?
Yeah, MJDLA ended up getting a snake down that drain, and cleared it out, there was something blocking it,
There was
but now
something
it's
blocking it,
flowing,
okay.
It's all set.
Was that the noise that was hearing? Someone was hearing the noise in the auditorium, but we couldn't see water?
It could have been, that's a great point, yeah, it could have been, yeah.
Thank you.
Don or anything?
Just the city council received your report, well, not a lot of pushback.
Are you asking or
asking.
saying? Oh,
Asking.
I was hoping you were saying.
No, I wasn't there.
They let me go. So, no, it was really, there were 2 council members, I think, that were most interested in asking questions, and I hope that I answered their questions to the best of my ability, so.
Thank
Let
you.
me know if you hear anything.
I will.
Camp,
The
anything?
fact that we haven't, I'm sure is good.
Nothing.
Nothing.
John? Mike?
My only comment is to Dan, thank you, I wouldn't be able to do this without your guidance, so I appreciate that.
I have to thank you, Mike, for stepping up and stepping
Oh,
in.
yeah. This is getting
I feel
real.
confident in Mike's-
Hey, listen, you guys are no strangers to hugs. Come on, let's go.
That's it for me.
You guys have been a really great group to work for, and the positive energy that comes out of these meetings, the energy that has been brought to the project from meatball and matzo ball, it's been a pleasure for me. I thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Mike's doing a great job. You guys did a good job. That place is buttoned up now. It's got fencing everywhere. It would be hard to break into that place to play soccer or walk or anything else, and that's the way we want it. Dan, John, Jenny, and myself and Dean are working on reviewing some sidewalk issues, and the trade's gonna we hope make good on those. And we hope to do that next week, the 3 of us again. And other than that, the field guys are moving pretty good. Mike and Dean worked out a nice plan to try to keep the building as clean as possible during the move-in phase. There's a lot of dirt blowing around there, so they'll do the best they can. But all in all, everybody's working together pretty well. So it's gonna be, it's gonna be as close as any horse race could possibly be to try to get this thing done in time. But, that's it.
Just let you know, the contractor for furniture for the media center started today. Hopefully, if he has to finish up, he'll finish up on Monday. Tuesday, all the books are coming from the intermediate school to the middle school. Also on Monday, and we're gonna see a ton of trucks coming in for furniture. We have all three companies, Langer, WB Mason, and Interscape coming in
That's when, Monday?
Monday, yeah, Monday.
And they're loading in the front door too.
They're loaded, except for one is good, we let in the back, because there's so much stuff coming. So that's,
That's a very active day.
yeah, Monday, the whole week is gonna be active.
Yeah.
And then July, there's 23rd, there's some more stuff, and then the final one is 2 weeks before school starts, it'll be finished.
No, thank you very much for all your hard work.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, could I interrupt? I forgot one thing. Sue asked Mike and I to go down and look
I
at
know,
the.
I was there too.
Oh, yeah, but you can't see very well.
I know.
I had a report, I didn't see it myself.
Right, so we went down, Mike and I, this is pertaining to the, what's it called, one-way glass, two-way
Yeah.
glass, right?
In the
So
pre-K
in the
area.
pre-K area, in the kid, our students' classroom, there's a window where they could observe the little kids. And the teacher must have said it's difficult. And it's the right tint to accomplish what it's designed for, which is only being able to see out and not in. What we found is that it's much easier if you turn off the lights in the classroom.
Yeah.
And draw the shades, because it's not really that it's too tinted, it's more of a glare issue.
Turning off the lights in the observation.
In the high school observation room, right. So,
Yeah, thank you for looking into it. I mean, we've had this type of situation in the past where, you know, in smaller rooms, and we've never run into that before, where we've had to turn off lights and that sort of thing.
Maybe it's the temperature of the light. I don't know what kind of, what the Kelvin is in that light, but sometimes the temperature may affect it, I would think, I don't know.
Kim, can you
We
look
can
at,
look into that, yeah, I'll see.
look and see if it's extraordinarily tinted, or if it's pretty much to standard, or?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, thank you. It was brought to our attention the other day that it was a little bit tough.
It was,
Yeah, I might be able to
Yeah,
do
a glare,
a row of
glare.
lights adjacent to the window, maybe we could have those be switched, only those,
so the window,
so you don't get direct glare on the window.
yeah, the window faces this way, Mike, right?
Yeah.
And the lights
So
are,
it's perpendicular to
Ones are
it.
perpendicular to the-
lights are perpendicular to this. Yeah,
Okay, we'll just keep looking at
yeah.
it. Okay.
Thank you, everyone, great job. Who's making, thanks.
Good luck with your new project.
Oh, it's not just one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's not that one. It's not that one.
Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you for your patience and good luck.
Dean,
You don't need
Also,
much.
good meeting, thank you.
Same, thanks, guys. Good luck.
I made a mistake on the dates, sorry, I must
I
have been
saw that.
sleeping. So the next meeting, just to let you know, we probably can't have it on July 17th. I will not be here. I will be away, and I'm not taking anything. I'm gonna relax with my wife, my son, and my daughter-in-law, and my best friend and his wife from college. So if we can have it on July 24th,
Sure.
Thursday, that's okay.
I mean, it's a time of year where somebody's gonna be missing probably,
Yeah.
but.
Oregon and Seattle. I haven't seen our son, and my best friend, I haven't seen him. Could I have a motion to adjourn at 6:14? Robin, Kathy? Discussion, all in favor?